And welcome back to Illini Drive. It is Wednesday. Everybody's here. I'm Jake Hasan, joined by Nathan DeHaan, Alex Aguilera, and Brendyn Jones as always. We got a lot to talk about. Not a lot going on in the world of Illinois sports, on-campus sports, but there sure is a lot to talk about nationally. The Masters start tomorrow. There's a lot of NBA drama happening. And as always, we could cover some NBA, I already said NBA, MLB, and NFL storylines that pop out to us. But first, I want to talk about something, a kind of continuation from our discussion Monday. Since Thrones is coming up, and it's on Sunday, we're 5 days away now. And Brendyn, excitement level, I know you...
I'm very excited.
Yeah. But I was thinking about it on the way here, as I was walking over here, as I was limping over here. And have you guys ever, been this hyped for something that, have you guys... But also, on top of that, have you ever, lived through a series like this? For example, I think we're all, slightly too young. I think we all just missed the boat on Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. I think we all missed the boat on Sopranos. Breaking Bad, we kind of were, we were in high school.
I was on the boat for Harry Potter books.
Right. So
I had to wait for the seventh one to come out.
So that's the thing. But we were able to binge all of them. We got the finale. This is something I caught up to Game of Thrones and I watched season 7 live and then this upcoming season live, which is still I saw the first 6 seasons binging them, obviously. Mm-hmm. But Harry Potter, the only thing I waited for was the very last one. And I was getting in on Harry Potter 2 months before the last movie came out.
Oh, whoa, you're talking movies.
I'm talking about anything. So Breaking Bad, I picked up Breaking Bad after it was all done, mm-hmm. for example. Harry Potter picked that up 2 months, and I finished it, got all cut up 2 months before the final movie. I'm saying, have you guys ever waited and watched along with, and then because Thrones especially, we had 18-month layoff between this upcoming season and season 7. Mm-hmm. So to the point where we had this burn, we had this pent up excitement, we were waiting, and now here we are, and we're finally getting the payoff, fully experiencing the payoff.
Yeah, there's nothing that I can remember that was like
right.
that. I'm kind of in your boat where I caught up to the series in the middle of season 7, and I was able to watch it live.
Right.
Yeah, but there's nothing that I can compare it to this level of anticipation for the past year and a half.
Well, and Jake, a lot of us, because we're pretty big Avengers fans, we all sort of had the anticipation for Marvel movies.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say that one too, because I saw Iron Man. That was the first one. I saw that in 2008. That was the other one I was going to bring up too.
And for me, it was Captain America, and then it was, waiting, they're very much anticipating everything that came after that. For TV shows, no. Yeah. No, and it's true that I haven't really been on the waiting for things to come out train so much as I was True Detective this season.
Right.
Which was that made things and it's HBO that I'm just gonna repeat with Barry, the Bill Hader's show. Mm-hmm. I watch that every time that it comes every Sunday when it comes out. And now Game of Thrones, I was gonna get as the Harry Potter. You brought up the Harry Potter. I saw all the movies when they came out. Mm-hmm. Although admittedly, I haven't seen past movie 5, and I don't know why. But I'm a big.
It's a very weird point to draw the line.
But I read the books. I read the books 3 times all the way through, and that's what I had to wait for. Is that I finished book 6 when I was in 3rd grade, and then had to wait for the book 7 to come out when I was in 4th grade. Humble brag about how good I was.
I was going to say, 8-year-old Nathan just out here dealing with Elvis Dumbledore dying.
I blew through them all in 3rd grade.
Book 6 is heavy for a 3rd grader.
Yeah, right.
It was. I didn't get into books until 7th grade. That's when I started.
Yeah, that's a little late, but okay.
I knew how to read.
No, we're not doubting that you know how to read now.
That's a little late.
But I wasn't really all into I read novels or anything like that.
What was the first book series, if any, that you guys were ever into?
Pendragon.
What's that?
Huh?
Yeah, it's kind of like a sci-fi fantasy type of deal, or more fantasy.
All right.
Oh man, it's about this kid. He finds out his uncle is called a traveler, and basically he can he's the only person that can travel to different dimensions. Basically,
these look crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So the way I got introduced to it was I was in school one time. It was after school, and I was bored. I had nothing to read. I had a book on Joe DiMaggio, but I blew through it. I already knew everything about Joe DiMaggio from that book. And my friends had this Pendragon book. I was like, hey, can I read it? I'm just bored. I just need something to do. And I started reading the 9th book, and I was just like, hey, this is pretty dope. I was like, how many books are there? and they're like 10, and I was just like, oh, which one is this one? They're like the 9th one. I was like, oh. So they're like, so I was just like, well, I'll start reading it. I got the first book, read the first book in like a week, and then I just like flew through it in like a year and a half, like all 10 books.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first one might have been Percy Jackson, to be honest.
Yep.
I think Harry Potter was right after that for me.
And then Hunger Games was around that time.
Yes.
I only read the first book of Hunger Games, and then
Yeah.
They're
That's
really
that's
good.
fell off.
I feel like Hunger Games at the time was really like huge and everybody's into it, and it just like doesn't really have the legacy that you would think it
right.
did.
It
just-
I think it's
it
because
kinda
they
fizzled.
I think it's because they butchered the movies.
Yeah.
right.
The movies were bad.
Because like I watched the first movie, and then I was like, okay, I don't want to.
The first movie was fine.
No. The first movie was the worst.
You think the first one was worse?
The reason is,
I think
the reason is, and you'll never unsee it, they forgot to use a tripod the whole movie. If you watch it back, every shot
Everything's
is
shaking.
rocking side to side, up and down. And I swear, like, somebody pointed that out to me in the next movie. I had to put like a seasickness patch on because I was like,
Jeez.
I couldn't like focus. Everything was going in every
For
direction.
me, it was just like subpar. I was just kind of like, oh, okay, like this is okay, I guess. Like, it was
And-
watchable. But
I thought the movies got worse as they
Well,
went.
I
to be
also
honest.
think it was because they hopped on the movie so quick.
Yeah.
Like Harry Potter had an extensive time being just books before they were like, oh,
That's
let's
true.
make the movies out of these. And same thing sort of with like I don't know how long it was before the Lord of the Rings books became movies or
It was a long
before
time.
Yeah.
before
It was like 10
Game of
years.
Thrones
There was a
books
gap.
before
There
Game
was
of
a
Thrones
gap.
books became movies. But it's building that cult fan base of readers and then having like
Boom, boom,
I don't know.
boom.
I feel like that time sort of adds to like you sort of get to learn what the readers really enjoy and then make sure that you apply those in the movies. Whereas Hunger Games, the books are coming out, and within like 5 years of book one coming out, I feel like
It
movie
might have
one
been
was in
short-
production.
It might have been shorter than that. It was, but it was definitely no more than 5 because you're right. They came out like boom, 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 and they were done. That's a good point. And then right where you get like Harry Potter and Marvel, they stretch them out over 10, 12
I
years.
never got into Harry Potter. I don't
That's
know why.
interesting.
Like I watched the only movie I saw from start to finish was the 4th movie.
Arguably the best movie.
I think 5's the best one, but 4 is up there. A lot of
Yeah.
people like that one the best.
I don't know why. It was just like I watched. That's the only one that I can remember. There was a scene where like they were in the water.
Yeah.
And they were doing all the games. Like that's the only movie I really. And then I saw like the final 30 minutes of the very last movie. Because I was
Jeez.
just
Kinda
curious.
how it
That
ends.
makes me so angry.
I was just like, you know what? I just want to see
it.
how it ends. And yeah, that was it. I was in New York and my aunt had it on. I was like, I guess I'll finish
That's-
watching this.
Infuriating.
And it was
I like just did not care. I did not care.
it was 4 years from the time the book was released until movie one was out.
For Hunger Games?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So you gotta think-
Which means the hype for the movie started 2 years after the book.
I was gonna say, which means that like at least like 2 years of filming and post production and just all the stuff that you're casting and like that movie was decided on like 2 years after that book came out, and that is just so much shorter than any other
Yeah.
series
That's
that held the weight that it did when the books were coming out.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's insane. There was one series I read in grammar school. It was like called the Inkheart series. It was a really bad movie with Brendan Fraser eventually. But that was decent. Good for Jennifer Lawrence though with Hunger Games. Like she became a superstar after
Yeah.
that. And she's a really good actress.
Yeah, skyrocketed her career.
Yeah, she was in a lot of really good movies like right after that. Like American Hustle was right after that. That's a good movie. She was in a lot of stuff. Silver Linings Playbook was right after that. Great movie.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper.
Actually, I did not think I was gonna like that movie.
Silver Linings Playbook?
Yeah,
It's good.
Yeah, I didn't
Really
think. I saw like the Eagles whatever jersey that he had on. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I guess I kind of have to watch it now, just to see what's up with that. And yeah, I ended up liking that movie. So
Now that we're talking about that movie really quick, that movie it does a really good job of like using the whole sports thing as like a little like on the edge, and they just tie it at the
Right.
end. You're like, oh,
yeah,
I really like that movie. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, the subtleness of the Eagles being involved and like we're talking
Right,
I got like a blank look
Right.
at first and I was like,
Right,
wait, so
right.
we're
How
not
it's a
talking-
theme throughout, and then
Yeah.
it all comes
like
in.
it was just curiosity. Like, what does this have to do with the
right,
movie?
right. It's really cool. I really like that movie. I think everybody should watch that movie if you haven't watched it.
Do you guys remember the TV series Touch? Came out on Fox in 2012 and 2013.
Rings no bells.
No.
It failed after 2 seasons, but like you want to talk about anticipation for shows. Me and my family saw the preview for it after the Super Bowl that year, and then it started coming out consistently. And it was about this little boy who like he would like do things, and he could like he would like think things and they would somehow relate to other big things happening like later on in the
Oh,
world.
maybe I do know
like,
this.
Wait,
he-
that does sound familiar.
Yeah.
he would like do something and for some reason it would affect like the telephone wires in like Saudi Arabia and like somehow like save a girl who was because one would fall down and like she was getting kidnapped by these people and it was like
That's wild.
Yeah.
you like
no,
like,
this does sound familiar.
That
though.
does-
you'd have
does
to
sound
see the
familiar.
show to see how it all relates together, and that's what made it so cool is how it all related together. And that was the only show that I ever watched like live time from season one,
Religiously.
being like this. I love this show, and then also another failed TV show, Men at Work, that features the.
Oh, I know.
It's got the guy
Yeah.
from that '70s
From
show.
that 70s show, yeah, I watched
and,
that
and
show,
it had
too.
other people, and it was funny, and it was whatever on TBS, but that only lasted 3 seasons too. So I tried to get into shows, and I thought like maybe these are the next show that people will be talking about, and I guess my review means nothing.
It's
a good
crazy.
thing I'm not a TV.
What's
critic.
going to happen, though, to tie it back to Game of Thrones really quick, what Game of Thrones is going to do to the rest of the TV industry, whereas it's like nobody's ever going to do it. Like Game of Thrones is going to last for like 5 years as people start to catch up then. Because once the season's over, people are going to jump in and be like, all right, now I can just binge it all
Right.
the way and catch up in like
You don't have to wait
a
on
month or
anything.
two.
It's like it's all gonna be
And
there.
then once summer rolls around and everybody's talking about it, now they're going to have all these people who blew through the 8 seasons so that they could, talk about it with their families and their friends
Right.
on 4th of July or a long weekend or whatever.
Or when like Amazon Prime picks it up after
Right.
it's already all the way out, the way that they have like Entourage on there, and Entourage is an HBO show, then all of a sudden it'll open it up to an entire new viewing audience.
Wait, is Game of Thrones on Amazon Prime?
No.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying
Okay, I was going to say this whole time I had Amazon Prime, and that show's been on there, and I've
No.
just been like scraping all these HBO trials,
Yeah.
just trying to watch.
But it's
this
just
show.
crazy because Game of Thrones is going to last, and they're like any new show that comes up is going to be held to that standard for
Yeah.
a couple years after, which is going to stink because they might be really good shows, but they just they just fizzle out because they don't get the same hype or
Right.
fan
Right.
following.
How would you feel if instead of doing a spin-off TV series, they did a spin-off movie? Like they did Robert's Rebellion, but in movie form. Like I feel like that'd be. I feel like
Like
I
you would have to do it right.
Well, yeah,
I
you have to do it right, and like it'd have to be a pretty long movie,
Right,
to
yeah.
like satisfy all the viewers. But I also think that it would kind of work because if you just did another TV series, then it's just like you're just redoing the whole thing like on a different storyline.
I'd kind of hate the movie idea because I feel like they were cheating. Like they laid out this whole expansive world with
Right.
Game of Thrones that goes this way, that way, the other, and there's all these different storylines that they've alluded to, specifically like when predating the current Game of Thrones like timeline. And then if they just made a quick 2 hour, even if it was 2.5 hour movie, I feel like they'd be somehow cheating because they've spent all this time creating everything else, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna do this whole story in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I feel like with the world of Game of Thrones, it's something that you really have to, I guess, break down with a show, which
Right.
you can't do with a movie. It's like with a movie, you have to scrunch it into 2.5 hours per se. But with the show, you have that time to develop characters to kind of like bring out these storylines or whatever you want to say.
Right.
And I think that's what makes it so successful, that it's so like wrung out. Like you have all these different storylines, like you just talked about Rob's Rebellion and the Targaryen bloodline and all of that. I think that's what makes it more successful, and I think they just couldn't accomplish it with like a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah. It's different with the Marvel movies though because you have multiple movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they kind of got it down movie wise, but I feel like with Game of Thrones, you kind of just
Tommy just texted me. So Tommy Polson just texted in, all caps, hate the idea of Thrones movies.
All right.
All right.
I mean, I'm with him. I hate the idea of a Thrones movie because, like Alex said, like even with Game of Thrones, like they did now, like you said, they've wrung it out, and there are things from season 3, 4 that tie back into season 7. They all come full circle. You don't have that luxury if you try to do it in the movie.
Like,
Shout out Tommy.
I guess if you were to do a movie, it would obviously it would have to connect to the show, but it would really honestly have to be like its own entity. per
Yeah.
se.
I guess I feel that.
Yeah. It can't have too much of a connection towards the show.
I just feel like it feels to me like a Hollywood move to pull though.
Yeah.
Do
I
a
see.
TV series and then know that everybody's going to pay attention because it's got the name of that TV series, and then
Right, yeah,
run
yeah.
the movie.
HBO doesn't really do things in a Hollywood manner, though.
They did that with Entourage. They did a
That's
movie.
fair.
They did a
Yeah,
movie
they did
afterwards.
that.
And I keep bringing that.
That was
up, but-
easier, though. Don't
Yeah,
you think?
it
Probably to
was
do
easier.
in the scope
the
of
Entourage
you-
world
yeah,
isn't
right.
the Game of Thrones world, but
Yeah.
The Entourage cinematic universe.
I think we're throwing out the idea that Marvel is who the Westerosi call in to help them save themselves
that
from the
would've
White
been awesome.
Walkers, and it's just super hybrid.
That's out there
because
somewhere
the Battle
on
of
Reddit.
Winterfell's dropping in the same weekend that Endgame drops, and it turns out they're
know.
both just the same thing. Unreal.
Yeah.
We are 4 days away from Game of Thrones premiere. We are 16 days away from Endgame, and just all of my emotions are on the very edge. But all right, we covered a lot there. That was 16 minutes of Game of Thrones and TV talk. Let's do sports, and I think we should lead with the funniest, absolutely most ridiculous thing that I've seen. Magic Johnson just quitting. He's done. It's over. Doesn't want anything else to do with the Lakers. He's out. He said he wants to be able to talk about players and tweet about other players.
Right.
He wants to be able to say that, oh, Russell Westbrook, 2020, that's awesome. And he wants to be able to be on Twitter. Magic Johnson pretty much just said he wants to be able to be logged on and not have responsibility.
Yeah, right.
Like, that is crazy.
I saw the news pop up on like an NBA meme page that I follow, and I thought it was a joke.
Yeah. It's
And
crazy.
then I come in and I see it on ESPN Bleacher Report, and I'm like, oh, this dude really like just
Up and quit.
He didn't tell
Man,
anybody.
this
He didn't tell
Yeah,
Jimmy Butler.
and the day of like the last home game,
Yeah.
Right.
just like
Crazy.
Just the timing
Peace.
of it is just hilarious.
Absolutely.
I love the timing.
And just the way he did, oh, nobody. It was like the first and second. Nobody else knows about this, dude. What? This man just called himself a press conference to quit. It's like, that's crazy. Like he said, "Oh yeah, Jeannie doesn't know." Oh well.
I haven't told her yet. That was a great quote going like on air and being like, "Oh yeah, I should probably tell my boss this."
Yeah,
But it's also like a testament to Magic Johnson is how much everybody loves him that like nobody really is minding that much. Like it's like he's getting like
he's too likable.
He's getting like kind of some heat, but he's also one of the few people in the world that could pull off just being like, you know what, like I'm deciding that I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna leave. Like it was fun while it lasted. I want to do a new chapter in my life, and everyone's kind of like, good for you, Magic Johnson. Like that's okay. This is a little absurd and crazy, and like wow, but also like you're Magic Johnson, and you
It's
just got
okay.
that Showtime
Like, it's okay
smile,
for you to do that.
and I hope you have fun on NBA Twitter, Magic.
Yeah.
It's a dog eat dog world.
I mean, he's going right to the jump. He's calling Rachel Nichols like, "Hey, you got a chair open over there?" Like,
They should.
I mean,
too.
and he's got the personality for it. I'm just imagining like after like the NCAA games, like Jeannie Buss going up to Magic and be like, "Hey, Magic, like, do you see any of DeAndre Hunter? Like, I think he could follow us." And him just like, "Jeannie, I have no idea what any of those words just mean. I have no idea what you just said to me." Then 24 hours, I'm like, maybe this isn't it. Like. That's crazy. Like, he literally, I mean, for how many years Magic has been the president of basketball operations for the Lakers, been saying, all right, here's our process, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get these young guys, we're going to get LeBron, and then we're going to start competing for championships. After he got the biggest thing that he wanted to do, said no thanks. Like, tore apart their team, shipped off D'Angelo Russell,
Destroyed
brought in
the
Lonzo,
chemistry, everything.
got rid of Julius Randle. Everybody's gone, brings in LeBron. The team's falling apart, and he just goes, "Yeah, I just want to be on NBA Twitter." What? It's crazy.
It is crazy. It's weird. Part of me wonders how, like, when he made this decision. Like,
Dude, I guarantee you it was after Michigan State beat Duke. I guarantee it. Because he was in the stands for that game.
well, and it was because he couldn't go out and like tweet and like speak his mind about that game and his alma mater.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, did you hear what he said?
I mean, yeah, I was not thinking that game though.
Yeah.
Like, that's when he thought.
I was gonna say I was just a little taken back because I couldn't think that you could pinpoint something like that so clearly. You think it was literally a week ago?
I literally think that's when I literally think he was having so much fun there, and he's like, I want to do this all the time.
I was thinking kind of like that period where like the Lakers had like that 1% chance of making the playoffs, and I think it was there. He was just like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. Just that little period right there where it was inevitable that they weren't going to make the playoffs.
I don't know if it was a Lakers thing though, because you've had like he's been committed to this for what 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, and he had this process laid out, and then you're almost there, and you're gonna quit. Like that's
I
like running a marathon, and you can see it. You're
Well, no,
there. You have like you just got your runner's high. You're almost there, and then you just sit on the curb. And you're like, I'm just gonna wait for my mom to pick me up. I'm done. That's
guess.
it. Keep the medal.
I don't
Done.
know.
What?
I feel like it's just that period where it was just like, okay, yeah, the Lakers are definitely not going to the playoffs, and he's like, yeah, I'm done. Like, I'm done with this. I don't know.
I don't know, dude. Like, you're right. I don't know. It could be. It could be absolutely
Right.
anything. It could have been he woke up that morning. It's like,
Like, I don't
probably
want to
not.
do this anymore.
I mean, it's crazy, but now I'm so looking forward to Magic Johnson just being in on like some dude with like a Marcus Smart Avi on Twitter, just going back and forth with this dude. Like, I'm so excited for that because that's going to be hysterical. Because as it is, and I mean, I've admit on the show, I'm not a huge NBA guy, but like NBA Twitter is one of the most chaotic places I've ever seen in my entire life. Like Rob Perez is one of the craziest humans in existence, and now you add Magic Johnson to that. Like, I'm waiting for Worldwide Wob and Magic Johnson to Instagram Live together and just like break down something, like anything. It's crazy.
Yeah, it'll be, man. Yeah, it'll just be cool to see.
It's gonna be funny.
Cool. Yeah.
I mean, do you think it was just the pressure of last season? All right, you get LeBron, but you miss out on Paul George. You can't make a Kawhi Leonard trade happen. You can't make an Anthony Davis trade happen. And so the pressure's there. Like, Magic Johnson doesn't strike me as the guy where it's like pressure gets to you and you're like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Because he seemed very lighthearted about leaving.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can't imagine it was just the pressure of being like, I got to get someone this offseason. Like, I got to make this happen.
I think the expectations for Magic Johnson, because he's Magic Johnson, were so high. And then after this year, you saw like what happened to the team chemistry after the whole, how many people they offered for Anthony Davis, how the whole LeBron situation, they missed the playoffs. And I think he loves the Lakers, and you know, he doesn't want to be a detriment to them, but he also, again, wants to be able to, you know, do his own thing and communicate with other players and, you know, just be the guy that he wants to be. He doesn't want to be stuck to that office and stuck to the rules and regulations.
And that's more so along the lines of what I'm thinking when it's like, I don't think he necessarily had issues or he had problems or anything like that, but he was sort of, he had been with the Lakers for a while, and then and I know this is going to sound like I'm harping on the idea that Kevin Durant brought up about like playing with LeBron is like a little bit too much of like hype and pressure around it. But I feel like it kind of was for Magic to be like, you know, I know it's the Lakers, and I know that I ran Showtime and I was the face of, you know, Lakers that were almost similar to the LeBron stratosphere scope of influence. But now he wanted to just, you know, do his own thing and be on his own, and he realized, yeah, like with all the accusations of tampering when he was accused of tampering with who was it earlier? Ben Simmons earlier this year because they talked.
Wasn't it Giannis too? I think
I know Giannis has like wanted to stay out of it. I remember Giannis said tampering to LeBron when he got AD on his team for the All-Star game. But I think it was just some of like the craziness and like the absurd like accusations and other things that go on of like the sports politics that eventually Magic was like, you know what, like I don't have to do this. Like, I have my life. I can just live it.
Yeah, I think he does want to be more involved with the players, because you look back at that Ben Simmons incident, and Ben Simmons really just wanted advice from Magic Johnson. They're very similar players. Ben Simmons wants to mirror his game like Magic Johnson, and he couldn't do that, and both of them got accused of tampering. There had to be like an investigation, and I think he was just really over that, and it wasn't really worth it to him.
Yeah, but it was crazy. I mean,
but I think overall, just that whole aspect of not being able to communicate with players, just kind of being Magic Johnson, I think that's kind of like why he just left the position. I don't know.
Because he can be Magic Johnson anywhere. Like you said, he can hop on The Jump. He can hop on FS1 if he's not about ESPN. He can start his own show or own podcast where he brings on players.
Oh, he's definitely doing a podcast.
Imagine a Magic Johnson podcast.
Yeah,
he's gonna do whatever.
I mean, he's already got the name. He's already in LA. He's already got everything going for him. So might as well just try different ways of sharing yourself with the world and see how you like it.
Yeah.
I want to go back to having fun, he said. That's so... He literally threw a quote from a movie out. He literally threw a quote from the other guys out when he said, I'm a free bird and I've been handcuffed. It, like, he stopped just short of saying, you got to let me fly. Like, that's crazy. He quoted Mark Wahlberg in a very serious press conference of him stepping down and quitting the Lakers, essentially.
I was wondering where that came from, because I was just like, man, why does that sound so familiar? I was just like, he didn't just say that. Like, that's from somewhere. Oh,
from what, 7 years ago? I think that movie came out like 2012, 2013.
No, dude, I think that movie came out in 2010. That movie's almost 10 years old. I want to say I was I swear.
2010, you're right. Okay, so worse. He took a quote from a nearly a decade-old movie.
Wow, that movie's almost 10 years old.
That's crazy. Why am I getting a random call right now?
While we're on the topic of age and the NBA, something that we need to touch on really quickly.
You're declaring for the draft.
No. That's what Alex will be doing after he dunks in May. No, but last night was a crazy night for the retiring stars of the NBA.
Yeah.
Dirk officially announces that he is retiring after this season, after it was wildly speculated that he was, and correctly speculated. He drops 30 in his last home game in Dallas. Dwayne Wade has been on this farewell tour all season. Budweiser drops this crazy, heart-wrenching commercial of all the people and the good that he has done for South Beach, Miami, Florida, just people across the nation as a whole. Phenomenal example and human being to really learn more about and see demonstrated through that Miami Heat and sort of just tribute. And then Jamal Crawford, who's 39 years old and still in the league with the Phoenix Suns, drops 51 points and joins a group of like 11 or 12 players that have dropped 50 this season. Because why not? It's the Phoenix Suns, who don't know how to tank or do really anything right. The Bulls lose to the Knicks last night, completing the tank off. I mean, they played the Knicks twice in the last 2 weeks, 2 weeks. They've lost both of them, and those are wins in the tank column. So, but aside from that, I wanted to mainly address the fact that we're seeing an era of the NBA sort of filter out with Dirk and Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade's scoreboard celebration, our good friend Brian Binns tweeted about it, the greatest post-championship celebration of all time, and even just post-game celebration that he completed last night. But it's going to be sad to see these guys go.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. Those just, for all the time I've followed the NBA, they've just been there. And just to see those guys go, that, we're starting to see this generation that, for me, that I grew up on, the LeBrons, the Wades, the Melos, starting to see them, slowly one by one, leave. It's weird.
It's crazy to see, like, I don't know, it's just an end of an era. You look at Dirk Nowitzki, and he might be the last player to play for one team his whole career. And that also could have been Dwayne Wade, but he had contract issues when he went to Chicago. And it's just insane to see that these two guys who have contributed so much to the league and done so much for the league, and if you look at Dirk, done so much for European players, and it's over. And even Jamal Crawford, I think last night he was the first person to score 50 points for 4 different teams.
Yep.
Yeah, he dropped 50 for the Bulls. Like, I forget Jamal Crawford played for the Bulls.
Started out
in his early career.
That's crazy.
It's just
wild.
It's insane to see that these guys who are 39, I think Dirk is 40 something.
Yeah, he's 40.
And they're still able to,
Just ball
pretty much
out.
do what they want. It just shows how much talent.
That's crazy that Dirk's 40. Is Jamal Crawford retiring? Did he say he's retiring?
No.
I was gonna say. I feel like
He is.
I feel like he's
I don't
just
think
been
there's
latching
any
on.
indication that he's going to retire.
after last night, I don't think so.
Jamal Crawford's always just been a weird enigma in the league. He's
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
been like an amazing player, but just kind of like that low key. Like he's pretty
Filthiest
decent.
No, he's
crossover.
cold.
Did he?
cold.
Did he win a
He's
six
cold.
man
Yes.
a couple years
I think he
ago?
won a couple.
With the Clippers.
Yeah, I thought he won
I
it
feel
with
like
the
he won,
Clippers
like,
too.
2 in a
2
row.
or 3, yeah. Something like that.
Filthiest crossover in the league.
Oh yeah, where he's like that, like behind the back. Oh man, I
wild.
think he did that with the Knicks one year. Like the first time he busted it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like the NBA has like said like even though Jamal Crawford's 6 man and more of sort of like a shooter, gives you good minutes or whatever guy, had no doubt the hardest crossover in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Once AI left at least.
Jeez.
Yeah.
This
And
man.
you got to think those two overlapped.
But yeah, that one, it was at Madison Square Garden where he just went behind the back with just that sick crossover. It's like, oh man, it is just nasty.
I have a question. So when you look at these players like Jamal Crawford and like now turning into like Lou Williams, who have kind of like mastered what it means to come off the bench and contribute to a team for a long time and like accept that role, even though they're not starters, even though they're not, doing all this, they win multiple 6 Man of the Year award. Do these types of players deserve to go to the Hall of Fame?
That's
That's an excellent question.
I've been thinking about that for so
Because I
long.
think Jamal Crawford's probably the best 6 man ever, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Does he?
I think
deserve-
he'll make it and he'll set a precedent.
Yeah.
I would imagine. I mean, I feel like that's how that would work. Like you always have that first guy, and I think he would have the strongest case.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
without a doubt. I mean, this is a dude who's been in the league 19 years and like
and
keeps going.
And you'd be foolish to put like James Harden in that category at all because he was a 6 man for a talented and young
Right.
Thunder
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
Right.
Seeing where his career went afterwards, but I'm trying to think if I know of any other,
Well,
renowned 6 man.
Manu Ginobili eventually kind of eased into that 6 man role with the Spurs once he started getting older. And
Yeah,
But I mean, Jamal Crawford's kind of always been
Yeah.
that
Oh,
guy.
he was
I'm
on-
s-
Ever
I
since
think
the
that's.
Bulls.
I think what Brendon's question is there a guy who was like didn't like, so not like Harden, who went from bench to star, Ginobili, who went from star to 6-man. Like,
just like
Jamal Crawford's been
who's always
consistently
been
a 6-man, like always been that guy who's like your spark guy. I think he starts it. I think then you'll probably see guys.
Yeah.
So Lou Williams has 2, and I think he might win again this year. Jamal Crawford has multiple. I'm trying to look at them. So I don't know. I just think it's really interesting that these guys, like, not everybody can be a starter, and they've mastered the art of coming off in the second rotation and being able to put up points and being able to influence a game. And I don't know. I'd like to see some of these guys in the Hall of Fame. Of course, not everybody who wins a 6-man award should be in the Hall of Fame, but Jamal Crawford and Lou Williams is kind of pushing that for me as well.
Yeah, if you have dominance at your role, then why not?
Yeah. Jamal Crawford's been on 8 different teams. He's been on almost a third of the league. He's played for almost a third of the league. That's crazy.
I don't know. I wouldn't be mad if Jamal Crawford.
I don't think
goes to the
anybody
Hall
would.
of Fame.
You just put up a video of him crossing people over, and I think everybody's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
At least this crossover deserves the Hall.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Just a GIF. Just a GIF loop of it. Just going out of there. Yeah, that's crazy.
I remember tried to do it once and I fell, and I never did it again. I think
broke his own ankles.
Like when I tried to go behind the back, I somehow got the ball like right under my feet, and then I just like stomped on the ball and I just fell. Oops.
Good.
Never tried it again.
Talking about Dwayne Wade, I want to circle back to him. Where does he rank on best guards of all time? And he's obviously a Hall of Famer.
Right.
Guards or shooting guards?
Right.
Both.
He's the third best shooting guard of all time.
Yeah.
Behind
Kobe and Michael.
Okay.
Guards, I don't know.
Is he a top 10 guard of all time?
Yes.
Yes.
Top 7.
Well, I got to think who my point guards are.
You got AI.
So he's already starting
Magic.
John
Magic.
Stockton.
Yeah.
But John Stockton doesn't have any championships.
But John Stockton.
But
was-
John Stockton is
John
has-
Stockton was
John Stockton
Stockton.
has an untouchable record.
Yes.
Right.
Um,
Gary Payton.
No.
No, I think
No?
I put
I
Wade
put,
over
I put
Payton.
Wade over Peyton. Do I put him over?
Well, so he's already outside the top 5
yeah.
because you already mentioned Kobe and Michael and AI.
What are we talking about?
Guards
Guards.
overall.
Just guards.
Okay, just guards.
Would you already put Stephen Curry? Because I would argue that Stephen Curry right now is the second best point guard of all time behind Magic Johnson. Just because of how much he's changed the NBA with the way that he plays.
In terms of changing the NBA, yes.
Yeah.
But in terms of best point guards of all time, I think Steph Curry ends up there. But if he,
Especially
I don't
now that he
think-
can see.
yeah. But
Right, yeah.
but let's say he never plays another game of basketball and his career is stopped. I think that he isn't in front of Dwayne Wade just yet.
Okay.
I feel like for me, I think he absolutely has the potential. I feel like he needs to finish off his career first before you can make that argument. That's just me.
I can't think of Oscar Robertson.
Oh yeah,
He's up there with greatest guards. I don't know. Does he beat out Dwayne Wade? He was so good.
He was really good.
he's nodding yes.
First average triple double.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because I think the thing with Oscar Robertson was that he played in a totally different era. You know,
Yeah.
that
Right.
early '70s, like no,
It's crazy.
yeah. Because I think he was like the first player to ever average a triple double in a
Yeah, he
season,
was.
and then Westbrook obviously
Westbrook just came out of nowhere.
right and just did that. I think you could put Oscar Robertson up there though,
I think he's
because he balled out when he was in the league.
So right now you're looking at Wade like top 8, somewhere top 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
I'm-
that's fair
and I'm
balance.
cool with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Paul Pierce not as good
Brad.
as Dwayne Wade.
Oh yeah.
Please get
When I
this man to sign something.
We don't need to get into that.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Paul Pierce. I think Paul Pierce just likes to be a dude who, like, every now and then he's like, hey, nobody said my name in a while.
A few weeks ago,
I need
I
to get
used
my
to
name
play
out
in the
there
NBA.
again.
A few weeks ago, this kind of went under the radar, but he said that he was like a better shooter than he kind of implied that he was a better shooter than Klay Thompson.
Oh, jeez.
It's just like
Oh, yikes.
you're great, Paul Pierce. Just stop trying to inject yourself into people that are
Right, dude,
people
just-
actually want to talk about right now. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Like,
Yeah.
dude, you were great. Just
Just shut up.
Right.
Paul Pierce Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No doubter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just-
I think
it's
he'll
just.
be eligible in 2 years.
It'll be soon.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it'll be soon, 2-3 years, something like that.
I
But yeah,
think
no,
he's just
off-
mad because
Yeah.
Draymond Green was when Draymond Green told him you're not Kobe, stop trying to chase.
Yeah,
world
something
tour.
like that.
Ever since then, he's just been salty and he's trying to inject himself into that. I'm like,
It's like,
It's
it's
okay,
like,
Paul.
dude, you're
Paul, please. Paul.
just stop it. You're hurting yourself. Just
man.
stop.
That's crazy. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, there are a couple NFL storylines that I want to get to. Antonio Brown continues to lose his mind and be the pettiest man on earth. And Nathan, you got to address these Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, gladly.
These storylines, because these are the weirdest thing I've ever seen. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be back in a couple minutes. We'll address all those NFL stories. So stick with us. Illini Drive right after the break. And welcome back to Illini Drive, Wednesday edition, last show of the week for us here. Brendyn Jones has to step out because he has a test that he had to get to. So it's me, Nathan, and Alex taking everybody home tonight. So let's get to it the last 20 minutes or so here. And we mentioned it, some NFL drama. This Antonio Brown story is ridiculous. It's so weird. He just decided to hop on the Twitter machine and start firing off tweets about how, Juju's not a good teammate and how he's coming at Juju Smith-Schuster. And then to prove his point, Antonio Brown to prove his point that Juju's not really that good of a guy, blah, blah, he posts a screenshot of a message that Juju sent him on Instagram when Juju was in college still at USC. And it was the nicest message ever. Yeah. It was the most heartfelt, honest. It was cute. It was a cute thing.
Right.
It was Juju messaging, hey, AB, like, I'm sure you get hundreds of these messages, but I'm a young wide receiver at USC. Like, I'm trying to mold my game after you. You're one of the best. Any tips you have, I would greatly appreciate. And Antonio Brown screenshotted, put it up on Twitter, like, as if that was supposed to be a bad thing, as if we were all going to turn on Juju Smith-Schuster and say, why would you do that?
Right.
How dare you message Antonio Brown like that? You garbage. Like, what?
How dare you try to get better at this sport by DMing somebody that is exceptional at this sport, asking them how you can get at their level. You swine person.
It was the nicest. It was literally the nicest.
I saw that and I was like, what is he trying to prove exactly? Because this is just a really cool message. Like, this is not stuff that you see. It's just, hey, this is a Juju Smith Jr. before he became, what he is now, reaching out to, arguably the best wide receiver in the game right now and just saying, hey, bro, I appreciate your game. I admire it. If you could, hit me up and just, send me a couple tips, I'd appreciate it. Like, that's it.
I appreciate all your work. You were a great man on and off the field. Like, what? And Antonio Brown just posted it with a ... microphone emoji, hashtag on to the next. What? And
he failed at Twitter beef.
Yeah, the tweets leading up to this, Antonio Brown was saying how Juju's not a good teammate, how he whines and stuff, and that Juju tweets, all I ever did was show that man love and respect for the moment I got to the league. I was genuinely happy for him when he got to Oakland, and now he's taking shots at me on social media. So even the fallout, Juju's coming out the better guy here, looks better. And
then Brown also bashed him about the FOMO that he had that caught. And I was just like, dude, really?
He said something cost us the season or something.
Right.
It was unbelievable. I was like, dude, what are you doing, man?
Like, you just want people to hate you.
Antonio Brown's going full heel.
Yeah.
He's leaning into it at this point, I think, right?
Well, now he tweeted something 6 hours ago saying, I'm not going to give you fake medias any more ammo. And, he's enjoy using my name, AB, and, all this stuff. It's you know what, man? People are going to talk about you because you're one of the best players at one of the most popular sports in the world. But, shut up.
Yeah.
Right, dude.
And the thing is with Antonio Brown, he was likable before this.
Oh, yeah.
He was he was dancing,
Super
he was doing all, he was dancing, he was funny, he was charismatic, he was doing all this stuff, and now he's just going crazy.
Right, he's like, okay, I'm gonna become the villain now, per se. I don't know, it's just so unnecessary.
He's Duranting it.
Yeah,
I guess you go to Oakland and there's something in the water that makes you just have hate and spite for everybody that did right by you.
Right.
That's crazy, and I mean, it looks especially bad for Antonio Brown in the way that Odell was traded to Cleveland, and Odell's done nothing but be like, all right, let's go, let's do it, here we go, we're working, all this stuff. Meanwhile, Antonio Brown's just on social media, looking for trouble. That's crazy.
I don't know, man.
Weird stuff. Money makes people do weird things.
You know what?
Yeah, he's got the dumbest mustache I've ever seen in human history.
The bleached mustache?
Yeah, why?
You know what else makes people do weird things? It's, deep fly balls to left field.
Oh yeah, Marcelo.
Marcelo
Oh
Zuna.
my goodness gracious!
That was like the most awkward. Like,
Oh, buddy, I'm with
so
you.
funny.
It was so dumb.
That's so funny.
How do you misplace? So for
Dexter
those,
Fowler and
Harrison Bader.
Yeah, Bader, the outfielder,
Right.
just laughing at him too.
crazy. I mean, so
I'm seeing this video and I'm like, why is everybody laughing at Marcelo Zuna? And then I see the ball come down. I'm like, what is this guy doing? And then I was just like, he won a Gold Glove, right? And I
you
look
want
it
to
up.
go 2
and-
years ago?
And I was just like, huh?
He like fully committed to that
Yep.
being a
Right.
like a home run rob, like getting up on it, and then sort of like didn't decommit from the wall in time. That he was like, oh, I could just reach to get it. And he's like, no, I can't. So then he
Right.
jumps off and he's like face down when the ball ends up landing.
So for people who don't know what we're talking about, last night in
Google
the
it.
Cardinals-Dodgers game, yeah, just Google Marcell Zuna. It'll absolutely be the top thing that pops up. Last night in the Cardinals-Dodgers game, deep fly ball, deep-ish, medium fly ball, hit to left field. Marcell Zuna, left fielder for the Cardinals,
Warning track.
races to the wall, starts to scale the wall in an attempt to rob the home run. The fly ball drops about 15, 20 feet ahead of the wall, bounces over. But the funniest part was Ozuna is up on the wall, realizes it's short, starts to try to come off the wall. I don't know. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say his cleat got caught or something.
Right, because it looked like it was the
But
cage part that he was on.
he just falls face first in the most awkward fall off the wall to try and lunge towards this and make the catch still. Falls directly on his face and just laying there face down for a solid 10 seconds. And at first I thought he was hurt. And I said, great, this is a perfect way for you to get hurt. You're just starting to hit home runs again. And now you're face down in the outfield grass after horribly playing. The best part was the Dodgers bullpen reaction.
Yeah,
They were
they're all
were
like just
literally rolling.
just like this man.
They were howling. And it was unbelievable display of unathleticism.
Oh yeah.
Were
for
you
sure.
watching it live?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
How long until you started laughing? Like, please tell me that there was at least a little bit of
As
you that
soon-
was just like,
What was
oh.
the live reaction for
So
you?
when I saw him up on the wall and then I saw the confusion on his face, I was like, oh, come on. As soon as he started to fall, I started to laugh. As soon as you start, because you could see like the immediate, he was like, oh, I've made a horrible mistake. And then like just face first. Oh, it was just.
Just that face of. So you want to know how I ended up in this position, right?
Right,
With that whole
record
thing?
scratch.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was preposterous.
So, but you teased something before we took the break, though.
We did.
And I did want to loop back to it because I do think there's been a lot of talk going around, and I would like to make things a lot simpler for people. So so Aaron Rodgers has been in the news a lot recently about
Resident
his relationship.
Packers corner with
Right,
Nathan
yeah.
DeHaan.
Well, and he's been in the news a lot recently with his relationship with Mike McCarthy and sort of where he stands in the franchise. And instead of me like talking about it, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys to ask questions about it because I'll answer whatever. And I did a decent amount of reading on some of the Barstool articles or the Bleacher Report.
We'll do a recap of what the scenario is first.
So a Bleacher Report article came out talking about how Aaron Rodgers was sort of a locker room issue. They cited known Rodgers hater Greg Jennings, and then a new come in the fold Jermichael Finley, who I loved when he was the tight end for the Packers, and then he ended his career with a neck injury.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
And they come on the record talking about how he was bad in the locker room, how his relationship with Mike McCarthy was never really that great. There was a lot of media slander that went on throughout the year talking about how McCarthy and Rodgers had this head bashing and sort of ego clashing mentality, stemming a lot from people thinking that Aaron Rodgers is super egotistical, which comes from when Brett Favre talked about how he didn't want to coach him to take over the starting role because he was like, that's my competitor and I know how good he is. And Rodgers sort of backed that up, saying, yeah, like I never trained to be a backup quarterback. Like I wanted to take Brett's job the minute that I got drafted by the Packers. And there's just sort of been a lot of things that go along that line that sort of promote this idea that Rodgers is egotistical. And so then finally he does an interview with some guys in the area as Packers are reporting for spring training now. And it's good to see some NFL on my feed again and get excited about this Green Bay season. And he does an interview and he sits down and he says, listen, he goes, I don't know why people, and he's clearly referencing Greg Jennings and Jermichael Finley, keep like pretty much running my name around. And it's the same two people who like, and he's like, just get over it. It's pretty much what he's saying. I don't have it right in front of me, but that's the gist of things is that you made your career catching balls from me. You made your living, and I made you millions of dollars. And Greg Jennings went on to play for the Dolphins and the Vikings because of his career with Aaron Rodgers. And Jermichael Finley would have done the exact same thing had he stayed healthy. And yet you still have this sort of distaste for me. And then he also references the talks about how the media went after him and McCarthy's relationship, saying that a lot of times he would change the play at the line of scrimmage. And he talks about how him and Mike had worked together for, I think, 12 years. And well, I guess I can do the math. Yeah, 12 years. And he said, like, we had that trust level. He would call the plays, and he was the play caller, but he also had that level of trust in me that if I changed something, he knew that I saw something at the line, and it wasn't sort of any sort of, distrust or hating the play calling. He went on record saying that he wished he had never said anything after the Bills game, which the Packers won, but he pretty much like subtweet ripped apart the entire game plan, saying how awful he thought it was. And he talked about how he had regrets in that regard, but he also brought up, and to sort of wrap up and put a bow on the top of the Mike McCarthy thing, is that he goes, if you see Mike in the streets, thank him for all the work that he did. Wish his family well, because he is a good family man. He's got a great heart. He did a lot for the Green Bay community and has always been a respected figure in the NFL and beyond. And there was no need for people to try to run him out of Green Bay. And he never didn't really comment about the way that they fired him and why Mike McCarthy is so sort of angry about the way that it was done, because it was you lost the game at home to the Cardinals. You gave your little post game speech to the team. You went and sat down with the coaches, and they told him, you're fired. So, I mean, and it's not the nicest way to send off somebody that brought you a Super Bowl championship, that has coached with you for 13, 14 years and brought so much sustained success to that organization. But it was, and at the time as a Packers fan, I'll be honest, I loved it, because I was so fed up with things that he had been done, and because a new direction needed to be taken. And no, it wasn't the nicest way, and it probably he was done wrong by it. But at the time, I liked it. And Rodgers never really went on record saying whether he agreed or disagreed or liked or disliked anything that the Packers did in that regard. But he was wishing McCarthy well, because they have such a great relationship with each other. And so I don't understand the want for Aaron Rodgers to be this sort of bad guy, because he thrives off that. He loves that. He loves making the comebacks, and he loves putting the heart in the Bears and the Vikings or the dagger in the heart. And he thrives off of people sort of thinking that he's not good enough, because, I mean, this is a kid that went to community college before he went to Cal. Mm-hmm. He wasn't outstanding at Cal, but then he got passed up on by the Chiefs, and then had a revenge tour with the Packers, winning a Super Bowl 4 years post-draft. So, I don't know. I felt like he did a good job of wrapping everything up, and then the news came out that he beat the Bears on a broken leg.
Yep.
Yeah.
That he had a partially fractured tibia, the same injury that kept J.J. Watt out for the entire 2017 season, and he played the whole season on it. He wasn't supposed to put weight on that leg for at least 6 weeks post.
Yeah.
And he beat the Bears that night, and then he went on and had, albeit not one of his probably one of his worst years of his career. Mm-hmm. Because his leg was broken, and that made me have a full rush of enthusiasm for what this next season might bring for the Packers. So, any questions? I kind of ranted.
Yeah. You did. That was a rant. Yeah. That was a good old Nathan rant. We haven't had one in a couple weeks.
Right.
Do you still think his family hates him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jordan Rodgers definitely still hates him. He's salty that his older brother. I think he's older. Yeah, he's older, because then his younger brother went to Vanderbilt to play football and didn't succeed. But he's very good looking and ended up on The Bachelor. Good for you, man. Aaron Rodgers has one of the largest contracts in football history.
I don't know. It like, where did this come from? Like, it just seems so bizarre.
I think that's why everyone was so quick to believe it, because they're like, oh, if this guy's own family won't talk to him and they don't like him, well, then obviously it's easy for teammates. Even when I saw it, I was just like,
okay, this doesn't make like any sense. Like, as a Bears fan, I don't like Rodgers by default, but man, like, you can't necessarily hate him. Like, he doesn't do anything wrong. He's a hell of a quarterback. Like, I don't know. It just seemed odd, I guess, when the story broke.
It was very odd.
It was a culmination of McCarthy saying something to ESPN writers, and an article coming out on ESPN talking about how McCarthy didn't like how he was treated on his way out by the Packers. And then this reporter, or this writer for Bleacher Report, Tyler Dunn, who then just made claims. He made claims that in week 3 of the 2017 season, Rodgers was caught barking at his coach, stupid, blanking call, and just other quotes that he made up, and that, like, the other Packers players that have been known to sort of throw him under the bus and dislike what Rodgers does, and they just, I don't know, man. it was just an unnecessary. It was like Antonio Brown almost, where it was just an unnecessary sort of like slander act.
Right.
And Rodgers, I think, was finally sick of it, and he was like, "Listen, like I don't."
And he usually doesn't do interviews in response.
Right, he
to stuff like
responded
this.
it like the best way possible. He's
Right.
like, okay, I don't like doing interviews, but I need to clear this up because this is obviously just not true.
Right, because he normally doesn't do that. Like
Right.
he normally doesn't even address it. But I mean, I guess like you said, Nathan probably gets sick of it and is tired of dealing with all that.
He's a super he avoids media a lot,
Yeah.
and he doesn't really do anything. I follow him on social media
For a good
and-
reason at this point.
Yeah, and I follow him on social media, and I don't really see him posting a lot. He's had like a slew of like girlfriends that have been sort of semi. I mean, Danica Patrick, and before her, Olivia Munn, and then speculation about him and Aaron Andrews for a short while. So
That one was weird too.
like he's had like and people have gone on and said bad things about him and how he's not a good relationship guy, and that's the reason all these women like don't want to spend their lives with him and things like that. And he's never gone on record saying anything about that. Just sort of accepts it. Says, listen, people are going to talk, and I'm just going to play football and do my best at that. And now I think he finally just couldn't take it because he's sort of entering his last few years of his career, or last, I guess, sort of act, if you will. And he's like, I can't go down as this guy that just never called people on their bluff about the things that I say and the things that I do and the man that I am, because he's a very good man. He's done some stuff with State Farm for wildfire relief in his home state of California, for other natural disasters that have happened. He's been a very generous person with just different charities and things that he does. His favorite player in the NBA history is Juwan Howard for the ultimate mid-range game. Like, he's like a goofy, quirky, good dude, and just people want their quarterbacks to either be, extreme a-holes that go out there and get the job done, perennial winners, or like super likable Russell Wilson types.
Right.
And he's not.
Right. You're right. I mean, there's a reason he has that contract.
Right.
There's a reason he's considered one of the greatest quarterbacks already.
Yeah, for good reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I always found it odd. Like, he was never one to ever start drama whatsoever. It was just drama was
just
always
finds him.
around. Right. There was just nothing you could do about it. He was just a magnet for drama for some reason.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Last couple minutes. Masters starts tomorrow. I mean, you're not a huge golf guy, right, Alex?
No.
No.
I got a hole-in-one and won a free game in mini golf once.
Oh, in mini golf. I was gonna say I've been playing golf since I was like 10. You got a hole in one.
I think I told the story on here before that I got a hole in one on the wrong hole one time when I was playing at a par 3 course.
Tough.
Just hooked it so hard I ended up on the other green and then right in.
Tough. Wow. Tough. Now I'm excited. Masters weekend is one of my favorite weekends. I love it.
Who's the guy to watch out for?
Tiger. It's always Tiger.
Okay.
It's always
outside of Tiger, then?
until Tiger's done. It's always him.
Okay.
Outside of Tiger, Rory's the betting favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ricky Fowler's a good pick.
And Dustin Johnson, does he still retain the number 1 overall ranking, or is that Rory now?
I'll check that right now.
No, he is not.
Isn't there? Who's
It might be Brooks Koepka still.
Okay, yeah.
Pew, 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 pew.
I'm pulling for Ricky.
I've wanted Ricky to get a major so bad. He's been so close the last couple
It was
years.
last year that he had that amazing stretch of like finishing second or third, and wasn't it the Masters and the U.S. Open?
Yeah,
and then
he was
he competed in the British Open too.
He was top 5 at the PGA Championship, the U.S. Open, and the Masters, and then just couldn't get it done.
And that's why I'm pulling for Ricky, because I want to see him get that done and finally get that, the green jacket in his first major, and it's just been a long time coming. And then I've always loved Dustin Johnson. I think that he plays he plays
so
golf
cool.
like a real like athlete attacks their sport, where he's just
got the fire.
He's a power hitter.
Yeah.
He is dangerous from everywhere on the course, and it is just it's must watch golf, if you will.
Justin Rose is currently the world number 1. He's like getting up there.
Man, who's the guy?
36.
He's with Under Armour. Jeez, is it Jason Day?
Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, what happened to him?
Justin
still
Rose.
there.
Justin Rose.
He's still hanging out.
38,
He's
the world
still
number 1.
dangerous. He competes at every Masters he's at.
He's
Okay.
really good.
So
There's never bet him out either.
I love
Masters.
I just know names, and that's about
I love
it.
the Masters because I just talked about Dustin Johnson being must watch golf. Like when it gets to Saturday and Sunday, and those pairings are so good, and it is all the leaders at like in the late afternoon, and you can just turn on whatever the ESPN, the CBS broadcast or whatever, and you just see just like the big names going at it, and just it's so exciting because it's golf So it's not like this sort of heavy action thing, but it's so much of like a hit, and then you're just like waiting. Where's this going to end up? Where's this going to end up? It's like
Anticipation.
it's a constant anticipation. It's like
I will say I've never been like the biggest golf guy, but like when it came to the Masters, I was always curious like who won.
Yeah.
Because like, to my knowledge, like the Masters is like that major, like that's
the granddaddy of them all.
right.
All right, that'll do it for us on Illini Drive. Thank you for listening. That does it for us this week. Next time we're on will be Monday. We'll have some thrones to talk about finally. But we'll be back on Monday.
All of us. Cover my ears.
All of us with Tommy, of course. But tomorrow, Isaac, Eli, and Tati will be in. So tune in to listen to them. Obviously, you'll get your dose of recruiting talk, all that good stuff. But that does it for us for this week. Thank you for listening. Drive safe. For myself, for Nathan, for Alex. Take care. Alex, hit the music.